Hello again from Manila, the Philippines, Southeastern Asia. The right-wing populist named Mr. Jair Bolsonaro has now served as the Brazilian president for almost 5 months, since January the 1st, 2019. During and before his election campaign, he had, for example, praised the former military dictatorship that ruled Brazil from 1964 to 1985 for keeping the country in order. Had he claimed that Brazil's native people are so poor because they are so lazy, had said that he could not, or he would not support equal pay for work of equal value for women, even though he has admitted recently that many women are qualified today as employees, and had, for example, promised tough measures to deal with crime, had promised to defend the Christian faith and values. According to his Portuguese language Wikipedia biography, he was baptized by immersion in the River Jordan in 2016. However, he is still nominally a member of the Roman Catholic Church. Millions of professing Christians, including evangelicals, Pentecostals, and charismatics, supported him. And recently, according to a headline that I read in an online edition of a Christian newspaper, a Brazilian evangelical pastor threatened Bolsonaro's opponents with God's punishment. On the other hand, another pastor claimed in the Noticias Cristianas, Christian news online newspaper, to have received a prophecy from God that there would be another assassination attempt against President Bolsonaro. There was one weeks before the first round of Brazilian elections, that is in early September 2018. Mr. Bolsonaro was severely injured but survived, and he had to undergo a second corrective surgery, I think, after his inauguration, and that it would bring about a bloody civil war. Whether that prophecy truly is of God or not, I do not know. If it is of God, then it will come to pass. If it is not, it will not come to pass, and it's not, in that case, a true prophecy. But now let's get to the article itself. Amnesty International says Bolsonaro has toxic rhetoric. The organization also said Bolsonaro is infringing the rights of Brazil's indigenous or native people and Quilombola communities of the descendants of enslaved people. Published by Newsweek on May the 22nd, 2019, on the Rio News newspaper's website, the Rio Times newspaper's website. The Rio Times is an English language Brazilian newspaper to which I have subscribed as far as its newsletter is concerned, because I really want to know what is happening in Brazil and whether President Bolsonaro is as righteous leader as many of his Christian supporters claim him to be. Amnesty International published an open letter on Tuesday, that is May the 21st, 2019, criticizing the policies of President Jair Bolsonaro, saying they will lead to more homicides and deny some Brazilians their human rights. The group said Bolsonaro's anti-human rights rhetoric throughout his career is now being translated into concrete measures and actions that threaten and violate the human rights of all people in Brazil. The letter outlined measures like Bolsonaro's moves to ease gun laws, more stringent new drug policy, and what it said are attempts to interfere unduly in the work of civil society organizations. It also said Bolsonaro, who took office on January the 1st, 2019, is infringing the rights of Brazil's indigenous people and Quilombola communities of the descendants of enslaved people. Amnesty's Brazil executive director, Jurema Werneck, noted that when Bolsonaro was elected, the organization warned of the risk of the right-wing populist politician represented to human rights. We are beginning to see that our concerns were justified, she said. Miss or Mrs. Erika Guevara Rosas, the Amnesty International America's director, said Bolsonaro's actions are part of a worrying trend in the region. This is an extremely delicate time in the Americas, she said, citing Central Americans in need of protection in the United States and leaders accused of promoting violence and persecuting opponents in Venezuela and Nicaragua. Bolsonaro's Ministry of Women, Family and Human Rights responded to Amnesty International, saying they wanted to promote dialogue with the non-governmental organization to show that their allegations were not true. There is no evidence that any of the accusations are based on data or concrete events, the statement read. Also on Tuesday, governors from 13 of Brazil's 26 states published a letter protesting the decree Bolsonaro signed that loosened gun control laws. The decree increases annual ammunition purchase limits and gives the right to carry a gun in public without permission for people ranging from the federal police to professions like truckers, elected politicians, and journalists. We do not think that the measures outlined in the decree will help make our streets safer. Quite the opposite. These measures will have a negative impact on violence, the governors wrote. Source: Associated Press. And like always, I make the following disclaimer. I do not intend to infringe on any copyrights with this video, but rather to help those fellow YouTubers who really want to find out what is happening in the world to educate themselves. Have a blessed and safe remainder of this Thursday, and a blessed and safe and refreshing frequent weekend ahead.